Hello and welcome everyone back for another FPL video. My name is Mo and this is my channel FPL Inkling, the Fantasy Premier League channel of the season 2021-2022 to give you all the insights to the game and make sure you guys are up to date with all the information and latest news for this new FPL season. Before I begin today what we're going to do, I'll give you guys an insight of today's video. We're going to be discussing a club by club guide. Today, the club I'm discussing is Everton for this Premier League season, and I'll be giving you all the insight to the top performing players from last season, what their stats were, what their underlying scores were, who to look forward to this season, who maybe to avoid from their squad this season, and what's going to be taking place from there. So before I do that, just to let you know, if you've come back to this channel and you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time to my channel, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for watching my content. But before we begin, I'd like to say if you haven't subscribed to this channel just yet, this is a perfect time. Just take a moment, hit that subscribe button. If you also like this video, hit that like icon. And in addition, if you want to get the latest notification for when I do release my content, then all you need to do is hit that lovely bell icon to give you guys notification for my content. So let's get started, guys, with a club by club guide for Everton itself. So what we'll do, we'll start off with position by position, and then we'll go through the players who performed well last year and who potentially they can have coming in this season. So last year, in terms of goalkeeping, we're going to start with Jordan Pickford. So Jordan Pickford himself currently is owned by 4.6% of managers. The Euros are taking place as we speak at the moment. He's done very well. He's kept a clean sheet throughout the tournament and he looks pretty solid at the back. If we look at that from Everton's perspective, last season they weren't really that great defensively. It was quite a surprise for me considering they had Ancelotti, who's generally quite sound and has a good defence, whichever club he's been to. I kind of expected more from Everton in general, and I think generally they had a good line at the back. I just didn't think they just played to their full potential. But let's go through some underlying stats to see whether Pickford is actually going to be worth it or not in the new FPL season. So as I mentioned, he's owned by around 4.6% of managers. 5 mil is his price. So I think it's quite a generous price this year for a goalkeeper of his stature who's going to be playing week in, week out, and he plays for a club like Everton. So for me, he actually is someone who I would consider if I was looking to extend my budget of a goalkeeper from 4.5 to 5 mil, then definitely Jordan Pickford would definitely be a keeper that I would be keeping an eye out and most certainly even be getting into my squad drafts as well. He scored 114 points last season. Clean sheets, he had 10 clean sheets. And he conceded 39 goals. So let's look at his points per game. This is a stat which I've used in all my club guides. So this is the points per match on average the player has got throughout the season that he's played. So he achieved last season 3.74 points per game. Now for me, a goalkeeper of obviously his ability and playing for a club like Everton, I would expect him to be more closer to the figure of 4 points per game or maybe over 4. So I think he has probably underachieved last season. 2 seasons ago, he hit 161 points, which is his highest tally in FPL. So that's probably more along the lines which I anticipated. But I think this season, he's not going to be a bad shout, and they've got some really friendly fixtures. So I'll go through fixtures for Everton right now in terms of the first 10 game weeks, and then we can actually model that to the other players. I will discuss whether the decision to play them or not play them will be something we can consider. So if you look at the first 10 game weeks, I think they've probably got one of the best runs as a Premier League team so far. So plenty of green, plenty of grey, and just the one red, which is Manchester United in game week 7. So let's look at their first 5 game weeks. Southampton at home, Leeds away, Brighton away, Burnley at home, Aston Villa away, and Norwich at home. So they're extremely great fixtures. Even after the United game, they've got West Ham at home, Watford at home, and Wolves away. So there's some really good fixtures in the first 10. A lot of scope for him to pick up some bonus points, clean sheet points, and really drive home the advantage and get some real point scores in the first couple of weeks. So he is tempting. I haven't had a draft yet where I've included him in any of my drafts, but certainly after seeing the underlying stats from last season, and I can only think he can get better, and basing it on the fact that he's got these 10 games at the start of the season, I really do believe that he's someone definitely worth considering bringing in the first half of the season, if not the first quarter of these 10 games, to see how they set up, how Benitez gets the team playing. With Benitez, I can definitely say one thing is he'll definitely shore up the defence. Whether he brings in any further kind of players at the back, it's yet to be seen. But generally, I do believe that with Jordan Pickford and the defence they have with Rafa there, it's definitely going to be worth considering that, defensively they should improve on last season. So moving on, guys, to the highest performing defender from last season. So Michael Keane. Michael Keane, he's actually owned by only 2.6% of managers at the moment. He's priced at 5 mil, which I think, again, is a fair price. There's not many defenders in the game who I believe are fairly priced at 5 mil at that price bracket, but Michael Keane is actually not too bad, and he's performed well over the last 5-6 seasons. And for the price you're paying, he does get the odd goal and assist, so he is what it is. You've got equivalent players of him like Harry Maguire, who's 5.5. Alternative players such as in centre-back positions like Rudiger, Zuma, who are 5.5. So he comes in half a mil cheaper, which makes him a bit more attractive. He took 127 points last season, 3 goals and an assist. It was his highest goal-scoring season, and it combined with his assist, it was the highest goal-return combination, so assists plus goals for Michael Keane, which is not a bad season, to be fair. 127 points is a really good going. His average points per game was 3.82. Now, for a centre-back, that is the kind of points you're going to kind of expect, not because they're not going to be as kind of potent as wing backs, but I generally believe that he's pretty much done the best he has in overall in his seasons. But for a 5 mil defender, an average of just under 4 points, it's not a bad return. And again, those fixtures up front, they probably would excite you, but I think there's probably other players on the pitch that with those fixtures can actually give you more potent return. But a long-term game, you're looking for a consistent centre-back, and you want to spend around 5 mil on a player, then Michael Keane definitely seems like a good shout. But you can also go vice versa. So if you have someone like a Sanchez in defence and like a Connor Cody or a Lamptey, you can actually change that to make the goalkeeper 5 mil, which is going to be Pickford. I'm sorry, if you want Sanchez and you're going to have Keane in defence, you can change that vice versa and have Pickford in goal for 5 mil and Lamptey or Cody for 4.5. So you can make that pairing competition kind of combination if you wish, but that's again entirely your choice. Moving on for one of my favourite wing backs in the league, which is Lucas Digne. Owned by nearly 25% of managers. Again, for me, the ownership there is for 2 reasons. A, I think the price has come down by half a mil from last season, so a lot of managers have really been excited by the drop in price. He's got 120 points last season, exactly the same as the season before, but he played around 300 minutes less last season. 9 assists again, which again, he has a good return in terms of assists, and his points per game, you're looking at 4.03 now for a defender, worth 5.5 mil, pretty much, unless he's injured. He will pretty much play every single game for Everton. So for me, they don't have any other kind of like wing backs of his quality to depend upon at the moment. So definitely with the fixtures that they've got coming up, he is in my drafts at present, and I think he'll continue to be in my drafts and almost most likely play in my first game week of the season. He's on free kicks, set pieces, corners, so that's what makes him even more attractive as a player to have in your squad. Moving on to the high-scoring midfielder for Everton last season, which was Gylfi Sigurdsson, the man from Iceland, the man who's cool, and the man who kind of like led the reins last season. He's owned by 4.4% of managers at present. Comes in a bit expensive at 7 mil. I think 6.5 probably would have been fair, but I think because he was the highest point scorer from the midfield last season, he's therefore got the price at 7 mil. 122 points, played 2,244 minutes with 6 goals and 5 assists, and now he averaged 4.89 points per game. 13 bonus points, so he's done pretty well. Again, with the fixtures that are coming up, he's on penalties as well. He takes free kicks, so there is a potential chance that he might get good returns in those first 10 game weeks. Now, for me, he's not in any of my drafts so far. Can I bring him into any of my drafts? I can never say never. It all depends on how he has a start. At the moment, I'm not really looking at him, but if I'm looking at other players around the same price bracket, who are there? There is, at 7 mil, you've got Zaha, Maddison, Harvey Barnes. think, that's around the players that I can remember on top of my head, around the 7 mil mark. So he's not a bad option. It's just, again, the game time is going to be the crucial one, and what kind of gives him the comparative edges he is on set pieces. So at the moment, he's not in any of my drafts directly. I pretty much doubt it I'm going to bring him into any of my drafts, because even if I had a player worth 7 mil, I may be tempted along the Zaha slash. Potentially, yeah, I could go Zaha, I could go Maddison, but it will be worth waiting to see. But unless he has a great start to the season, Gylfi Sigurdsson, then my temptation to bring him into the squad may definitely catch fire, and I may get him into my squad. Moving on now, we're going to be going to James Rodriguez. Now, James Rodriguez last season had an absolutely awesome start to his season. So he came in, got a few goals and assists, and took the league absolutely on fire. He's worth 7 mil, 5% of ownership right now by FPL managers. He got 101 points last season. The thing with him was he was injured for a long period of the season. He wasn't really up to speed with the regular games, and I think that really caught him out during the kind of busy period of firstly the Christmas period, and then the kind of like April, May part of the season. So he scored 6 goals, 5 assists, owned by 5% of managers. And again, he's the same price bracket, so I wasn't aware of that. So he's in the Sigurdsson price bracket. If you look at his points, was 5.6, so he's higher than Sigurdsson. But again, fitness, he's injury prone, and minutes will he get under Rafa. So again, it's a lot of investment for a player who's quite injury prone, but again, if you want a differential option, he's pretty decent. Out of the two, start of the season, I would definitely go Rodriguez, because I think, if he does get off to the start that he did last season, with the fixtures that he does have, I think over the 10 games he will outscore Sigurdsson. Yeah, despite he's on set pieces, but Rodriguez, when he does get on fire, he does tend to go big. In some of the game weeks, I remember him getting 18, 19, 20 points in a few games. And he got 11 bonus points really in like 17 starts, so that's actually quite phenomenal in terms of the numbers if you do look at him. Again, it's the consistency and the injury. If he does overcome that, then James Rodriguez is going to be a great differential at present with the ownership I'm talking about at the start of the season, which may actually help your overall ranking to give you kind of that head start that every manager at present is looking for. Now, going to the main striker for Everton, and one of the best strikers of the last season, is Calvert-Lewin. So he's owned by 28.4% of managers, £8 million in price, and 165 points in total. That was clearly his best season last season by a country mile, and he had 22 goal returns with 6 assists and 16 goals. Played 2,871 minutes, and his points per game was 5.17, so that's the highest out of the players, I'm telling you, and he is my star player for this team of Everton draft. So I'm doing a star player per draft that I'm doing of the players I do. So for Everton, my star player is going to be Calvert-Lewin. He's not in any of my drafts at present. Am I looking to get him in? Of course. Can I get the free funds? I will definitely look to make way where I can. He's someone I'm heavily considering to bring him in. A, because of the fixtures, and B, I generally do like the way he's grown and developed. And I think, at 8 mil, there are not many other strikers in the game this season that I believe can get A, the game time he does, and B, the returns that he's shown over the last couple of seasons. So worth looking out for. He got 21 bonus points, and he was absolutely phenomenal. His goal tally and the start of the season last season was brilliant. It's just he needs to work on it and build upon it from there. With Benitez coming in, it's definitely going to help, I reckon. But it's yet to wait and see. But those fixtures, as I mentioned again, they're definitely mouth-watering from a player of his ability, especially with the service from someone like Digne, Sigurdsson, James. He will be, and Richarlison as well, he will be absolutely a dominant force to consider for alternative teams. And last but not least, we're going to look at Richarlison, the Brazilian sensation. He got 123 points last season, owned by just over 5% of managers, priced at 7.5 mil, which I think is a fair price for him, considering he gets a lot of game time. He got 123 points with 13 goal returns, 7 goals, 6 assists, with 2,862 minutes, which gives him 3.87 points per match. A bit low for my liking, but if you're paying only 7.5 for a forward, that is what you're going to expect. I'm quite surprised they left him as a forward because I think he's more of a winger personally with the setup last season. But hey, Rafa's in now. We're not really going to be sure of how they're going to play the system. But Richarlison is definitely going to be in the plans. But I think he can do better. He has performed better in previous seasons. But he did play like 200 minutes less compared to the season before. So yeah, I mean, with the season's fixtures again, maybe Richarlison, DCL might be a good shout up front. We're not sure. Is it something that I would do? I personally wouldn't. Maybe for 7.5 I'll go Ollie Watkins. Despite the fixtures looking friendly, but that is something that I would definitely look into. But Richarlison may be a good differential. He is kind of like hot-headed, so he's likely to get sent off or bookings quite regularly. But he did get 18 bonus points, which is quite impressive last season. So it's yet to be seen how he's going to perform this season and bring out his best if he potentially can. So that, guys, is the Everton video. That is the Everton players that I've reviewed. There's no new signings for me to review at present, but if there are any more further signings during this kind of transfer period, I will make a video later, closer to the start of the season, where I will be going through new signings and my thoughts on them. Let me know how I've done. Give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button if you've liked this video. If you haven't subscribed just yet and you liked this video and you want to be part of FPL Inkling, please take the opportunity, hit that subscribe button, help me grow the channel. If you want to be part of the FPL Inkling League, the league code is on screen, so all you need to do is just pop that code into your FPL Inkling, league code into the league code department to join the FPL Inkling League on the FPL website. Do that and be part of the league itself as well. If you want to get in contact with me, drop me some comments on my social media. YouTube video, you can drop it on here, Twitter, or my Instagram, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible, and I'll always be there to help you guys out. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you guys found this video useful, and let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. I'll be back with more content, and stay tuned for FPL Inkling to get the latest videos and FPL information for this new season, FPL 2021-2022. My name is Mo, and I'll see you guys soon.